Hi guys. I'm here at the IANS conference and I wanted to share with you another miraculous story that I found through Scott Drummond. This is John Hewlette. He owns and is formulated Cardio Miracle, and he told me his story and I could not tell you, because you know that I believe life is miraculous, and he has a truly miraculous story that he built this company based upon. So John, thank you so much for being here with me.
Kara, it's great to be with you.
Aww.
So nice. I mean, this lovely lady. What a joy to have found her here. My story is kind of interesting. I'm old now, but I spent 40 some odd years in the financial services world and had a successful business, and I was doing some natural treatments for some skin cancer, and that led me to an emergency appendectomy. My white blood count kind of went crazy, and so I went in for this emergency appendectomy, and then a lot of bad things happened once I got into the hospital. I've kind of avoided hospitals for years,
Yeah.
but
and rightfully so. It was an awful experience.
One of those things. And so it ended up that I had the emergency appendectomy. They sent me home. Didn't know that they had clipped a vein, and I was internally bleeding. And that night when I got up to go to the bathroom, I collapsed. And the next thing I knew, I had 8 paramedics hauling me out of my second story of my home. And while I was in the ambulance, they were trying to keep me alive. I mean, they're trying to keep me conscious because I was fading. And I remember the paramedic asking me, stay with us, stay with us. And I felt like I had a choice between living or dying. And because I'd gone through a challenge in a financial thing and marital challenge and a few things. I had a couple of my children were estranged from me, even though we'd had a wonderful childhood and upbringing with them. But divorce sometimes is problematic. And so because they were not in a right place, I felt like I wanted to stay. Well, then I got to the hospital, went to the emergency room, then they took me to ICU. I almost suffocated in the ICU because they knew I was bleeding internally. They gave me a blood transfusion, but they didn't give me a muscle relaxant. And so my lungs were kind of seizing up. And so I was motioning to the nurse for moments and moments. And finally they changed nurses. And the new nurse came in, read my chart and said, "Oh my gosh, they haven't given you the Demerol." And she ran out of the room and came in and then stabbed me with a shot. And that allowed my lungs to relax, and so I didn't suffocate. I was literally suffocating. It was a horrific experience. And then they sent me down to a regular room, and I met with the cardiologist because my blood pressure and my EKG had gone crazy during this traumatic experience. And so they wanted to send me down to get a contrast dye MRI. And as I was leaving the room, I said to the nurse, I said, "So what are the side effects of this?" So, "Well, sometimes kidney failure." And I go, "Kidney failure?" So all the way down to get this test, I had this epiphany about, you don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this. And I felt really strongly. And finally, when I got down there, even after they were probing around trying to get in the PICC line to get me in, I said, "No, I'm not going to do this. Take me back to my room." And they said, no, you need to do this. The doctor says. I said, "I don't need to do anything. Either get me out of here or else I'm crawling out of here." Oh. So they took me back to the room just as the nurse was hooking up an IV, and I said, "What's that?" And by then, this had been about 36 hours of trauma that I've been going through. And she says, "Well, this is the cardiologist says you need to take this IV." I said, "What is it?" And she goes, "It's Levinox." And I said, "What's Levinox?" She goes, "Well, I think it's a blood thinner." I said, "I'm bleeding internally. Why would they be giving me a blood thinner?" And so I said, "Get out of my room." So I threw him out of my room. And then from there, within an evening, I called an energy worker who came and applied some essential oils, frankincense, myrrh, gave me some cayenne pepper capsules. We had a spiritual prayer experience, and the bleeding stopped. Oh. And the next morning, when the surgeon came in to apologize for nicking my vein, he said, "Man, you caused a lot of ruckus around here." I said, "Yeah, you know what your cardiologist tried to do? Tried to give me a blood thinner." He goes, "That would have killed you." I said, "Yeah. Yes, I know. So check me out of here." So he got me out of there, and they said, "But your EKG was so bad, they think you should come back and have some additional testing to have a quadruple bypass." And I said, I am never coming back. So I left, I went home. I was in terrible shape for several days. Blood, I had lost 5 pints of blood that first day. And so, long story short, that led me on a journey to find natural alternatives for bypass surgery. I discovered nitric oxide had won the Nobel Prize 10 years before in reversing heart disease. And so I found a company that sold a product. I took the product, it helped me in a lot of ways. So I left my multi-million-dollar financial business and decided to be the messenger, the Apostle Paul, the Johnny Appleseed of nitric oxide. And 5 years later, I'd helped them do 100 million or more worldwide, but they didn't want to do everything I wanted to do in making the best product in the world. They weren't as committed to the science that was emerging.
Yeah.
So I left in 2013, walked away from another $1 million a year plus, and said, I guess I have to do this myself. Thus, Cardio Miracle was born. We have 58 of the finest ingredients in the world, 3 scientific papers, validation from some of the top people in the world, and it's been an amazing ride. And now I've met you. And so how good is that? And our goal is to influence and impact 100 million hearts of people and helping them get off of pharmaceutical drugs, avoid unnecessary surgeries, and live a happier, more productive life.
And I love the fact that you are you're so humble, because you formulated this yourself.
I've been told by really smart people that I'm not smart enough to have done that, and that it was a download from God. So I'll accept that a download from God is even better than trying to figure it out myself. I just connected the dots and followed essentially my gut feel and common sense after talking to the smartest people. And it's been fun to have scientists who think I'm crazy, and then they go to test it, and it tests out, and they all go, I guess you're not crazy, it must have been God. So I'm very happy to give God the credit. We're in his service to try to help humanity.
Again, very humble, and it's actually, so it's very successful. Can you tell them exactly where, just how vast the network is of Cardio Miracle?
Well, the network now is picking up pretty serious steam.
Yeah.
We actually doubled and tripled our business during COVID because we were actually the best alternative to preventing people from getting sick, because we have therapeutic, it's a drink that helps provide therapeutic vitamin D3, extended nitric oxide, vitamins, minerals, etc.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's right.
I want to show them. This is what it looks like, guys. There's the story, the Miraculous story on the back.
And then we have little stick packs as well that people can put into their bottle of water or into glass. And it's all natural. Like I said, it's been validated by the top people. We have wonderful endorsers from the scientific world, the nutritional world, the cardiovascular world, all of them having miraculous experiences. And now we're in the NDE world and the spiritual transformation experience world, which I now believe that I had an STE experience several times while I was in the hospital. And I believe it was God's way of getting me involved in something that would help humanity. And more important than just making millions of dollars in the financial world, which I'd done before. So it's been a wonderful journey. It's been delightful to meet you, my dear. Janet and I, my wife, have decided we want to adopt her because we love her. And so we're excited to have people try it. We have a money-back guarantee. The blood work will tell the tale. The energy level, the collagen in the skin for somebody beautiful like Kara. She knows as an esthetician that blood flow and oxygen and getting rid of toxins is really important, and that's all of the things that Cardio Miracle does.
Well, thank you so much. I am so grateful, one, to have met you and your lovely wife, and to know that I can back this wholeheartedly because I know that it works. Scott Drummond, one of our keynotes for the Truth Tellers Conference, he takes it. He has an amazing story about how it's worked within just weeks of taking away headaches that were, stroke level, and then of course Vinnie Tolman and whatnot. So these are real testimonies from people that we trust, that we know. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to back this 100% because it's an amazing product from amazing people doing such amazing work in this world.
And we're really happy that people who had a near-death experience can now have a better living experience by having Cardio Miracle. So thank you for this, and the best wishes with this great podcast. And everyone listen carefully when you can find answers in a natural way without side effects. And again, we invite you to try it. You have everything to gain, nothing to lose, because we back it 100%.
All right. Thanks again, John. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon.